Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wind Down Friday in this new episode. And today I have a special guest, Veronika Wright, CEO and founder of Electrification Academy. Hi, Veronika. Welcome aboard.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks a lot for being here. So, Veronika is CEO and founder of Electrification Academy, as I said, a B2B knowledge platform that maps workflows across the battery value chain. She's also known through her personal brand, Electrified Veronika. So, where are you located, Veronika?
Right now in Wisconsin. So I'm originally from Austria, but we moved to the US like 5 years ago. And so I'm in beautiful Milwaukee, right by Lake Michigan.
Nice. So, Veronica, you have a PhD in technical physics and industry experience at ABL in Austria. So, please correct me. But tell me more about you. You have gone from academia to industry, now to building your own knowledge platform, Electrification Academy.
Yeah.
So, tell me more about this academy. What inspired you to take the leap and create this academy, Electrification Academy?
It, of course, was quite a journey so far, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a long, long journey from now on. So, yeah, like you said, I have an academic background. So, yeah, back in beautiful Austria, I did my PhD in technical physics, and back then it was really very fundamental research, quantum chemistry, density functional theory. So I was really working on the molecular level. I was researching materials for solar cells, specifically organic and inorganic interfaces, simulating a lot. So it was amazing, but at the same time, what I missed was, the connection to how it matters to the world, a product, an application, something that I can essentially hold in my hands pretty soon. So I think that was kind of the biggest reason that I transitioned into industry, first of all, and I really got a great job as a simulation engineer in the battery team of AVL, an international engineering provider in the automotive space, headquartered in Austria. And I really built up my expertise in lithium-ion batteries for mostly electric cars, but also stationary energy storage systems. And I was really involved with lots of very cool customer projects with major OEMs and eventually broadened a little bit into battery life cycle as such. So really understanding where do the raw materials come from that make the batteries? How do we actually manufacture them, use them? Can we reuse them and eventually recycle? So really developed a passion that made me start my own thing 5 years ago. I moved to the US and left the corporate world and started my own consulting company. And since then, I'm kind of working with, startups, but also established companies to enter the battery market. So trying to understand the application in the market, what's going on, doing product market fit. So very technical consulting. And on the other hand, I'm also working with companies who have amazing technology, but they don't know exactly how they fit into these applications like electrifications, battery technology, whatsoever. And kind of concluding on that, my experience over the last 5 years was that I kind of realized a gap that we have in an information gap, a knowledge gap in a sense for this industry as such. So, when you're used to academia, you're used to publishing, getting yourself out there, sharing everything with everybody. Then you move to industry. It's all about protecting IP, trade secrets, don't talk to anybody, NDAs everywhere. The problem that I have with this, specifically in the electrification, battery, electric vehicle industry, is we all know that we needed these solutions yesterday.
Mm.
And we have seen, especially in Europe and North America, um, and we have seen amazing startups coming out, but we have also seen them fail just lately. And I truly believe that with the right knowledge sharing and lessons learned at that time, those mistakes could have been avoided and we could transition much faster into all things electrification. So that's kind of where I'm coming from and why I created Electrification Academy just a couple of months ago, actually. as, like you said, a B2B knowledge platform in that space.
Wow. Good, congratulations. So let's analyze the importance of connecting deep technical work with touch with real world application. You often highlight in your contents this importance. So can you share an example where this bridge, I mean, made a big impact for a company, a project you worked with?
Yeah. So, kind of coming back to research topic and cell
Mm.
chemistries, I think battery cell chemistries, everybody's kind of talking about it. Oh my God, there will be a new breakthrough and then we can solve all our problems. I have seen lots of research on cell chemistries that use materials that are not really available to us in abundance. So I'm questioning if we're focusing on the right things, right, in research, to a certain degree. And essentially, I don't want to know that you can theoretically make this battery work. I want to know how can you manufacture that at scale and at lower cost than what's being done in China, in Asia, because anything else is going to be very hard to realize for us right now. So I feel and I sense and I think we all have kind of proof that there is this huge gap between um, what we're kind of doing in R&D, but then really scaling and industrializing solutions, especially battery manufacturing, but the same applies to battery recycling.
So, from hands-on experience, from your hands-on experience with battery simulation, safety, recycling, so what do you see as the most important challenge that we need to figure out, we need to solve in the battery value chain now, today?
Yes, I mean, the biggest concern that I see right now in Europe and in North America is how can we just honestly compete against Asia in a sense, or do
Mhm.
we actually can we actually, or should we? So what actually is the strategy there? Like the biggest problem I have is I don't see us working on a common strategy to tackle that. We
Mm.
have smaller initiatives here and there, some goodwill, some funding thrown at certain topics, but then stopped again, but nothing really lasts long. And I'm kind of missing this overarching structure and information and fundament to actually assess where are we at in US and Europe and what is really the strategy for us for making not only the modules and packs for electric vehicles or energy storage systems, but also, coming down to the cell level and then with recycling, of course, closing the loop there. And I
Good.
do believe that there is a way to do that, right? With the right people coming together and with the right strategy. There is approaches that we can scale this, but the whole industry has to come together. So I'm looking at the semiconductor industry as an example for that. And then comparing that to batteries manufacturing, there's
Mhm.
lots of similarities there. A typical cell manufacturing process, it consists of making the actual electrodes, the anodes, the cathodes, then
Mhm.
assembling the cell, and then do what's called the cell finishing, where you cycle the cells for the first time and you actually make them work and make sure they work for a long time. Now, speaking of problems in the field and why also we have failed and why we see recalls and quality problem are actually the quality problems in cell manufacturing, and they mostly tie back to what's happening on the electrodes. So electrode production is really the hardest part. It also has the most IP. And so the idea could be, what if we separate the electrode production completely from the cell manufacturing, completely from the gigafactory. And we have companies that just make electrodes and perfect that and scale that. That would be a completely different approach. It would be cost effective, and it could also lead to way lower, quality problems. But the challenge is the whole industry needs to buy into this.
So you have also dismantled EV packs. So just talking about electric vehicle, but we are talking about battery. But battery, it's not only electric vehicle; it's also energy storage in terms of energy infrastructure. Anyway, you have dismantled EV packs, studied thermal runaway, and so on. So what's the most surprising, fun discovery you have made in your journey so far? So is there something that you would like to highlight during this
Yeah.
experience?
I mean, I'm a consultant, right? And consultants usually talk a lot, but I kind of wanted to follow through and some of the doing. So that's why I get myself into lots of hands-on projects
Yeah.
because I want to know, is this possible? What are the challenging? And this kind of is true for, me driving electric since I live here, me having solar on a house, me going on road trips and trying to figure out, is the charging infrastructure working here in the Midwest? But then also really hands-on working on batteries. So for some reason, I really have just this very deep passion for batteries and the electrochemistry behind it. So it's very intriguing to me, looking at this from, the molecular scale thinking that I have. And then at the same time, plugging in my car and just thinking about how the lithium ions move back and forth and intercalate into cathodes and anodes. And, that's kind of how I think about things every day. So it's pretty dorky in a sense. But what makes it fun is that my husband is the same way. So we're truly married with batteries. And all we talk about is either our daughter or batteries. So one of the more surprising and slightly scary things that I
Mhm.
did was, when I reassembled a battery module made out of used Mustang Mach-E pouch cells. There was this tiny BMS wire that
Mm.
got in touch with a tap, and there was this big spark coming out right in front of me. So that was surprising and shocking. Also, kind of a reality check, right? Another thing I think is just the sheer weight of batteries and how hard it is to actually work on them, to just move them around. Like the cell level is fine once you have a module, you cannot carry this by yourself anymore. Once you have a pack, I mean, it's really extremely complicated also from a logistics standpoint. And we just did this on a very small scale. So all these things, while coming from a simulation perspective, but then really working hands-on is really what kind of amplified my career in a sense too.
So I think that you have an electric car. So if you could design your dream electric car, so what feature, what unique feature would it have? What is missing now, for example? What would it look like?
Well, I did, right? So with the Jeep conversion project, I we kind of designed my dream car. Yeah, many people know the story that I used to watch the TV show Gilmore Girls, and they're driving this specific Jeep Wrangler 1999 in this show. And f from back then, I just always wanted to have this car because I'm emotionally attached to it. And then when I moved here, started Electrified Veronica. First of all, there were not many options, not many AVs out there yet, and none of them that I really liked. And then I thought, hey, can we just, make our own car? And this is a little bit easier here in the US that you can just, start your own garage project. And that's what we did. We actually converted a Jeep to electric. So I do have my dream car. At the same time, of course, we have been driving other cars. Coming back to the features, for me, after all, I just need a car to get me from A to B, honestly. I don't need any fancy features. I had a Mustang Mach-E GT, super high performance, with all the things that you could possibly imagine. We had the F-150 Lightning truck with all the fancy, glancy whatsoever, all the features. And now I'm driving this teeny tiny car, a Chevy Bolt EUV, with no features at all, super easy buttons pressing and back to the roots, and I love it. So for me, it's simplicity. It just works. It's awesome. I plug it in at home, fine.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you, Veronica. So let's talk about now about your batteries. So I mean, beyond job, as the philosophy of Wind Down Friday, I usually am asking about which are your hobbies, how you recharge your batteries, own batteries. So hobbies, passions, reading books, traveling with family. Tell us more.
Yeah. So I'm also on a self-discovery, right? And still trying to figure out who I am. But at the moment, I still believe that who I am in business is who I am privately. So for me, it is just mixed. So My business is me and the other way around. On top of that, I'm a mom. So I'm a mom and an entrepreneur business owner. I do not have free time. But the good thing is I love my job. My job is my hobby in a way. Um, I have extremely like high work ethics and I just love working. Now, I would say that my daughter, she's 2 now. She is the best thing that ever happened to me because she also showed me how I can enjoy the moment just in the moment without planning, without thinking, without needing to achieve something, without challenging myself. So she gets me kind of out of my headspace. So I love that. So I love spending time with her, with my family. And we love going hiking. And
Nice.
also, we're traveling between 2 continents in a way. So 3 to 4 times a year, I am back in Austria. So there's a lot going on that keeps me busy quite naturally.
Yeah. Thank you. How old is she, your daughter?
Little over 2 now.
Nice. So, Veronica, thank you for sharing all of this information. We are in conclusion. I have just the last one for you. We have talked about batteries, in particular your new activity, Electrification Academy, so a B2B knowledge platform, as we said. So, in conclusion, if we catch up with you, so in the next years, 5 years from now, for example, so where do you see yourself, but in particular also your Electrification Academy in this electrification ecosystem landscape?
Yes. So the goal here is really to create the go-to space for electrification knowledge, right? So we want to become the go-to space in a sense, almost a combination of the Wikipedia and Amazon for electrification, because we combine education with actual products. So you learn about how processes, industry workflows, how things are being done today, where are the challenges, but then you also get presented your trusted partners to work with once you're about to build something. So we want this place to grow together with a lot of other people, right? And honestly, I hope in 5 years we'll be back in a time where this industry kind of thrives again.
Mhm.
We have uncertain times right now, be it politics, be it other things that kind of got to us in the battery industry, and you feel it through your work, through business, through people's motivation in a sense. I also see something good about that because it gets you to pause, to stop, to think about, reassess where we're standing, what really makes sense. So I technically just use that time to
Yeah,
reinvent myself and hopefully can build this foundation that we can then just be faster in the future. So in 5 years, I hope that Electrification Academy has made an impact. It has accelerated the learning. It has managed some of the risks. It helped people to build businesses that succeeded. That's all I want from it.
super. This is super. Thank you, Veronica. I wish you all the best and stay in touch and have a good weekend as well. And so thanks a lot for joining us at Wind Down Friday. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.